Well, hello there, and I do hope you're all well. Now, for those who got through the Bodger insincere apology, I think you've done well, because I found it really tough at the end, and I couldn't record the lot because I think, good God, even I wanted to throw up. But I could have easily have added Keir Starmer's brilliant speech and Ian Blackford's speech after, but why would you want to sully speeches that, let's be honest, describe exactly what the Bodgers complete and utter disgrace and should not be anywhere near Downing Street, let alone in public office. Both fantastic speeches, and what I'll do is I will do Keir's first. Well, I'll do Keir's here and then another video for Ian Blackford's, because both fantastic. Enjoy.
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starmer.
What a joke. Even now, as the latest mealy-mouthed apology stumbles out of one side of his mouth.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was in hysterics laughing, because I think, yes, that's the Bodge roaring, because he's been caught. I just thought it was so funny.
A new set of deflections and distortions pour from the other. But the damage is already done. The public have made up their mind. They don't believe a word the Prime Minister says. They know what he is. As ever with this Prime Minister, those close to
Did somebody just say, look up the word clown? Well, it's not wrong.
him find themselves ruined, and the institutions he vows to protect damaged. Good ministers forced to walk away from public service, the Chancellor's career up in flames, and the leader of the Scottish Conservatives rendered pathetic.
Yes, everything he touches, he just drags down with him. They're an absolute embarrassment, the whole lot of them.
For all those unfamiliar with this Prime Minister's career, this isn't some fixable glitch in the system. It's the whole point. It's what he does. It's who he is. He knows he's dishonest and incapable of changing, so he drags.
So now watch all the snowflakes in the Conservative sycophants. His sycophants clutch the pearls because he's called our leader dishonest. Oh, especially the man with the magnificent plumage, Michael Fabricant. I nearly called him Mark again. Good God, why do you watch this stuff? Why do you watch them? I can't even get names properly. See, it's the Bodge, he does it to me. But you watch Michael Fabricant. What a fucking idiot I am. Absolutely clutches pearls. Hilarious.
Drags everybody else down with him. The more people debase themselves, parroting his...
Order! I can't hear what's being said because you're making trouble. Mr. Fabricant, I'm all right. Keir Starmer.
Losing the marbles. Yes. And of course, Lindsay Hoyle. His backside falls out. Please, Keir, can you withdraw the word dishonest? Because you're hurting the Bodger's feelings. Please.
What I would say is I think the leader said dishonest. I don't think that's an appropriate word to be... I think I will make... We don't want to talk about breaking rules, do we? I don't think that's a good time to discuss. I just say, I think if he just withdraws that and works around it, I'm sure that with the knowledge that he's gained over many, many years, he can use appropriate words that is in keeping with good temperate language of this House. Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker,
That's right, criminal.
I respect that ruling from the chair. The Prime Minister knows what he is. And so he drags everyone else down with him. The more people debase themselves parroting his absurd defences, the more the public will believe all politicians are the same, all as bad as each other, and that suits this Prime Minister just fine.
Absolutely spot on. Friday, me and my wife went to watch the football in the pub, talking to a couple of people. Somehow the subject got onto the May elections, and this old woman spent good 2 minutes absolutely ranting about the lying turd that Bodger Johnson is. Then she went and said, well, I ain't going to vote anybody anyway because they're all as bad as each other. And I just said, well, you do realise when you don't vote, people like Boris Johnson loves voters like you because it makes it easy for him to remain in power. Didn't change your mind. Says, I don't care. Still not going to vote because they all piss in the same pot. They all eat out of the same pig's trough and all that nonsense. So, absolute spot on, Keir.
Some members opposite seem oblivious to the Prime Minister's game. Yeah. Some know what he's up to, but are too weak to act. But others are gleefully playing the part the Prime Minister cast for them. A minister on the radio this morning saying it's the same as a speeding ticket. No, it's not. No one has ever broken down in tears because they couldn't drive faster than 20 miles an hour outside a school. Don't insult the public with this nonsense. But, Mr. Speaker, as it happens...
Now, Michael Fabricant, you're going to get yours now. Hope he looked him in the eyes as well as he said it. Be even better.
The last minister who got a speeding ticket and then lied about it ended up in prison, and I know because I prosecuted him. And last week we were treated to a grotesque spectacle. One of the Prime Minister's loyal supporters accusing teachers and nurses of drinking in the staff room during lockdown. Members opposite can associate themselves with that if they want. But those of us who take pride in our NHS workers, our teachers, and every other key worker who got us through those dark days will never forget their contempt. Plenty didn't agree with every rule the Prime Minister wrote, but they followed them nonetheless. Because in this country, we respect others. We put the greater good above narrow self-interest, and we understand that the rules apply to all of us. This morning, I spoke to John Roy.
This is powerful. This is really powerful. And the two things, as he tells his story, two things to pick up. One, silence. You could hear a pin drop. Nobody's getting raucous or trying to drown him out, because, let's be honest, it'll look bad. Two, look at Bodger's face as he's telling it. He looks very, very uncomfortable.
Robinson, a constituent of the member for Lichfield. I want to tell you his story. When his wife died of COVID, John and his family obeyed the Prime Minister's rules. He didn't see her in hospital. He didn't hold her hand as she died. Their daughters and grandchildren drove 100 miles up the motorway, clutching a letter from the funeral director in case they were questioned by the police. They didn't have a service in the church. John's son-in-law stayed away because he would have been the forbidden seventh mourner. Doesn't the Prime Minister realise that John would have given the world to hold his dying wife's hand, even if it was just for 9 minutes?
Look at that face.
But he didn't, because he followed the Prime Minister's rules. Rules that we now know the Prime Minister blithely, repeatedly and deliberately ignored. Yes. After months of insulting excuses, today's half-hearted apology will never be enough for John Robinson. If the Prime Minister had any respect for John and the millions like him who sacrificed everything to follow the rules, he'd resign. But he won't, because he doesn't respect John. He doesn't respect the sacrifice of the British public. He is a man without shame. Looking past the member for Lichfield and the nodding dogs in the Cabinet, there are many decent, honourable members on the benches opposite who do...
Now you could say, yeah, he's trying to politically point score by trying to divide the government, you know, divide the, you know, the sane members of the Conservative Party from the ridiculous sycophants. But I think he's got a point. How long is this going to go on for? Hiding behind Ukraine to keep this complete idiot in charge.
Do respect John Robinson, who do respect the British public. They know the damage the Prime Minister is doing. They know things can't go on as they are. And they know it's their responsibility to bring an end to this shameful chapter. Today I urge them once again, don't follow in the slipstream of an out-of-touch, out-of-control Prime Minister. Put their conscience first. Put their country first. Put John Robinson first. And remove the Prime Minister from office. Yes. Bring decency, honesty and integrity back into our politics. And stop the denigration of everything that this country stands for. Thank you.
He basically tells you everything about the Bodge. Absolutely spot on. And he gets up, well, he saunters up and in a very low, how can I put it, very low voice, he's trying to pretend that the leader of the opposition is politically point scoring and insulting me. And well, hang on a minute, you insult Keir Starmer every week by calling him Captain Hindsight and all nonsense. And all you had left was to try and say that if it wasn't for him in 2019, as he was trying to get a certain MP from Islington North, was it, I think, to become Prime Minister. Well, hang on here a minute, Bodge. In 2017, were you not doing the same thing to get Theresa May into power? So what are you talking about? That's all you had. That's all he had. And I'm not going to sully that great speech by listening to that complete and utter turd. Hope you enjoyed that speech, because it's, I think, well, I found Ian Blackford's just as good, so I'm not going to delay any longer and just going to leave the video here until the next time. I shall bid you farewell and take care.